in this lyrical etude for symphonic band, it's really important to get your initial tempo, not from the first two measures, which are very slow, long notes, but from all the harder stuff, like let's say measure 7, where you have those 30-second notes. That's going to be the base for your tempo throughout this etude, where you're not taking it from the easy stuff, but the hardest things. Because if you're playing that beginning and you take it too fast, you can't just slow down when it gets hard. You need to think of those 16th notes and 30-second notes and those triplets in measure 5 and 6. Speaking of which, if you don't have this special key that's a left hand E flat key, and not many people have it, you're going to have to go from D sharp and then left hand B, and then you're going to have to slide to the C sharp and then back to D sharp. What you need to do to make that consistent is don't try too hard. If you actually tense up your fingers and you really try to do this, you might find that your pinky will just slide off altogether. So you want all your fingers, not just the pinky, but all your fingers to be relaxed and just let it slide on. Let it just fall on to the C sharp key. Speaking of making things fall into place, something like this needs to sound really fluent. So there's a lot of technique involved in this etude, but if you can make the fast, hard things sound easy and still fluent, and as fluent as even the first two measures, which are just long, slow notes, right? If you can make everything sound cohesive, that will show whoever's listening to you that you are a really mature, developed musician. In this technical etude for symphonic band, it's really important to take a tempo that is fluent. So as a general rule of thumb for this etude, I might suggest up to 100. If you don't get to that, that's okay. We're always going to be wanting to hear something that's really clean and easy sounding at even 85 compared to 100 if it sounds not easy at 100. If things are slowing down and getting faster again, if it sounds unstable at fast tempo, you don't get any points for that. So know your limits, know what you can do, and find where your ideal tempo for playing this. But in the meantime, when you're practicing this is an interesting one, because for me, and I think for a lot of you, the second half of the etude, actually right after the repeats and the rest, that's actually the hardest bit. So as I was saying before about the lyrical etude for symphonic band, you want to take your tempo from the hardest part. For me, that's actually measure 26. So I'm going to be thinking of measure 26 and how I feel while playing measure 26, and that's going to be my tempo from the very beginning. Now, a lot of this has different articulation markings. Most of it is slur 3, tongue 1, which you don't see every day. So you want to make sure that those tongued staccato 4th, 16th notes, like the fourth of each group of 4 16th notes, sounds very articulated. But at the same time, you want to make sure that everything is even. So what I would say to practice this etude altogether, but especially in the second half, is to actually practice it all slurred and slow and easy, and try to make it sound as easy when you play with the articulations that are marked. As for breathing, I might suggest that you take a breath at measure 13, but try to make it quick, and remember, it's about sounding fluent. No one's going to give you marks for sounding like you're trying really hard. If you can make it sound like this is all natural, like music is a language and you want to sound fluent in it, don't let the clarinet do what it wants to do. You are the one who makes the music happen.